From WNIJ Studios on the campus of Northern Illinois University, this is Sessions from Studio A. I'm Spencer Tritt, and we're bringing the rock and roll to you this hour with Luke Freeze and the Shadowband. I love the way Luke Freeze describes the band's sound. Think Bowie meets E Street Band with the little Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds thrown in. We'll hear the band recorded live and talk about songwriting and what it's like to produce and mix your own music.
My method of recording and all of my favorite artists are artists who place an emotional delivery way above technical perfection.
Live recordings and our interview with Luke Freeze and the Shadowband coming up this hour on Sessions from Studio A. Welcome to Sessions from Studio A. I'm Spencer Tritt.
You paid in cash and then you crashed at the Honeycomb Hotel.
Luke Freeze and the Shadowband join us on this week's show for live recordings right here in WNIJ's Studio A. They're a four-piece rock band based out of Chicago with Luke Freeze on guitar and lead vocals, his brother Garrett Freeze on saxophone, Zane Nias on bass, and Gary Zucker on drums, rounding out the rhythm section. Luke Freeze put out his fourth album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, last year, and we'll hear songs from that along with a few new singles from him. I'll also talk with the band about Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, but first, let's start off our hour with a great song from that album. This is Miss You. It's Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, recorded live on Sessions from Studio A.
Ever have good days anymore. I can't remember a time before the war. You were dropping bombs and leaving me on red. For a while I was turning the other cheek, but when you told me that was sweet, I decided I would fly right back instead. Now we're both mishearing what each other said. 'Cause now it seems like you're really only into me these days. When I'm somewhere else, you're far away, 'cause you, oh, that's right, I wanna kiss you, oh, but the only time you're into it is when I'm on the road, 'cause you miss you, oh, and babe, I can't resist you, oh, so I come right back, thinking, damn, I miss her, 'cause I miss you too. You lose. What if sadness is what you choose? Then I can't try both our choose at the same time. When I try to hold you, you push away. I don't wanna, should I go or should I stay? If you're only gonna want me back down the line. Once I catch my breath and start feeling fine. Now it seems like you're really only into me these days. When I'm somewhere else, you're far away, 'cause you miss you. Oh, that's right, I wanna kiss you. Oh, but the only time you're into it is when I'm on the road, 'cause you miss you. Oh, and babe, I can't resist you. Oh, so I come right back, thinking, damn, I miss her, 'cause I miss her, I miss you too. This song's about my cat, 'cause she's a sweet potato. 'Cause it hurts me to see that you're barely treading water. It ain't that deep, and the nights aren't getting darker. When you're spinning around and around my tornado, my roots are in the ground, sweet potato. I'll always be here, keeping you down to earth. When there's a feeling in your gut, a volcano, like you're not good enough, sweet potato. I got your back, I'll show you what you're worth. 'Cause baby, it's a good life if you just let go. It hurts me to see that you're barely treading water. It ain't that deep, and the nights aren't getting darker. Baby, it's a good life, just let go. 'Cause it hurts me to see that you're barely treading water. It ain't that deep, and the nights aren't getting darker. You paid in cash and then you crashed at the Honeycomb Hotel. Stayed out last night, couldn't make things right, didn't want to go home. She don't miss you anymore. The empty house, the dusty wooden floor. You're better off going to the Honeycomb Hotel. You're smoking more and drinking less, and that's got you in your head. But when she doesn't want you, and when that starts to haunt you, you can stay here instead. You can play the piano loud. Who knows, you might weave in trouble crowd when you're hanging around at the Honeycomb Hotel. And you can't overstep if you're scared to walk, and you can't lose your voice if you never talk. So just come out of your shell. You either living your dream or you're dreaming through life. So have yourself a peace life. and then you crash. It's lonely, but it's comfortable. Here's a place you can wash your face, be open, be vulnerable. You can stay here, you can leave, take all the time, the time you need. You can put your stuff together at the Honeycomb Hotel.
This is Sessions from Studio A, and you just heard Luke Freeze and the Shadowband playing live here in the studio with us. And I'm joined now with the band. Thanks so much for coming out to DeKalb, everyone, and playing in Studio A.
Thanks for having us.
Before we talk about some of your music, let's get a little of your background, Luke, because I heard your first album, and it's totally acoustic.
Yeah.
Totally different than what we're kind of hearing here today. So I want to hear a little bit about your musical journey. Take us back to when you first started playing guitar and writing your own music.
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing my own music since I first started learning how to play it. So I started with piano when I was 5, and then guitar when I was about 10. And then when I was in college in Boston, I started releasing albums that I was recording on my own. And since I was recording them all on my own, I was kind of just getting help from friends when friends would be around. So a lot of it was kind of stripped back and acoustic. And then when I moved out to LA for a little while, I started playing with more people out there. And then when I came back home, I realized that I needed to put a band together if I wanted to play live. So that's how it all started.
Cool. And we've got the Shadowband here.
Sure do.
Can we introduce the Shadowband also
Sure
that's joining you today?
Yeah. So that's Garrett Freeze, my brother, on saxophone, and Zane Nias on the bass, and Gary Zucker on the drums.
All right. And so how did you guys meet Luke and get involved with the band?
I met Luke also in Boston when we were at Berkeley together. We played on a few shows at the same time. He was in the Detours at the time, and I was in I think it was the Steve Connect band at the time. Played on a few bills together, kind of saw each other here and there. A few years ago, we reconnected, got together, and just started playing again. And well, I guess it was our first time playing together.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever did in Boston.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it worked out. The jamming was fun. He joined the Burning Lights, which was the sequel to the Steve Connect band. And then he was like, hey, you wanna do some solo stuff too? And then the Shadowband started forming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Garrett, like you mentioned, you guys are brothers. Did you guys grow up playing music together at all, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in a way, it kind of started from birth for me. And Luke was always putting on like Elton John, Billy Joel, that kind of music in the house, and he'd give me like a toy, and he'd have his own toy, and we'd play it together. So like finally, eventually we actually used real instruments. But yeah, and then ever since
They were
then,
hockey sticks for a while, though. We pretended they were guitars.
Wow. I love that. And so you mentioned, Luke, Boston, Los Angeles. Sounds like you've been kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Both coasts. And
Yeah.
now you're based here in
Yeah.
the middle of the country
It was
in
the
Chicago.
compromise.
Yeah. What brought you out here to northern Illinois?
Well, I'm from the western suburbs originally, so moving back to Chicago was kind of like coming home, and then so DeKalb. I've played shows here I've been playing shows here since high school, because when I was in high school or middle school really, because I was in a couple bands with some people in Batavia, and so Batavia is like hop, skip, and a jump away from the NIU.
Yeah, we were talking about the House Cafe earlier,
Yeah,
reminiscing about those days. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, your first record you put out solo is totally acoustic, The Lost Weekend.
Yeah.
And now we're hearing you today with the Shadowband and this big sound.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that journey, kind of going from being an acoustic singer-songwriter to now finding your sound with the full band.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of like album by album, it's like, so The Lost Weekend was pretty much all acoustic because that was all a lot of like songs that I was writing for songwriting class. And so it just made sense to just kind of get them out almost like demos. They're just sort of like glorified demos. And then and then the second album, Some Easy Blood, was like the first that used a lot of worked with a lot of friends from school, and we kind of had like a makeshift like Luke Freeze band sort of put together, and that was recorded in our basement. And that had drums, and that was very like kind of post-punky. And then
I loved the Bob Dylan inspired cover too. Is that album?
Yeah. Or that's Point of View. That's the third one.
Okay, yeah,
yes.
the third
and
album.
So yeah, the Freewheelin' tribute. Yep. And so that's like the LA album. I did that album in LA with a lot of friends that I was like living with around there, and then that sort of like just kind of gradually got more and more produced until with the fourth album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, it just made sense to just kind of just be a band, like Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds or Elvis Costello and the Attractions kind of thing.
You are hearing my talk with Luke Freeze and the Shadowband on Sessions from Studio A, and we're hearing them recorded live here in Studio A this hour. Thanks so much for joining us for the music. Later on, we'll talk more with Luke Freeze about his latest album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, and you can find that album on streaming services. And follow Luke Freeze on Instagram at Luke Freeze Froze. Freeze is spelled Frees. Stay tuned for more music coming up right after the short break here on Sessions from Studio A. Welcome back to Sessions from Studio A with Luke Freeze and the Shadowband. Their latest album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, is out now on streaming services, and we'll talk more with the band in a little bit about that album. But first, here is a brand new single from Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, just came out a few weeks ago. This is called Superstar, and you are hearing it recorded live in WNIJ's Studio A. It's Luke Freeze and the Shadowband.
Guaranteed, but would you do it all for free? What did it cost you to follow the norms? You got know the forms, but what's your torn? You're thinking it lost you. Wouldn't I be proud you get ahead like they always said? You're bound to catch a break. You know what to make, so wake up and come back to who you are. They say you could be a superstar someday. Didn't they say you could be a superstar someday? So cut your dreams while you're fast asleep. Better watch out before they start to slip away. The years roll by and you start to find little gray hairs catch your eye. They buy you a car now. If you throw on a suit and you sell your boots, you're the new kid in the news. It wasn't that hard now. Wouldn't I be proud you get ahead like they always said? You're bound to catch a break. You know what to make, so wake up and come back to who you are. Didn't they say you could be a superstar someday? Didn't they say you could be a superstar someday? So clutch your dreams while you're fast asleep. Better watch out before they start to slip away. sleep away. Take a stroll down memory lane. Try to remember the details that were out the frame. All the names you forgot about, belong to faces that mean so much more now. And at the time it was hard to see how fleeting it would be, but seeing her when you're old is always harder. Those memories on Gardner. Disco ball of cop car lights. When you play too loud and they shut down the night. Runs in the dark with songs you write. Thinking these security. Your own advice. And notice different people you haven't before. Hindsight pulls you out and makes them larger. Those memories on Gardner. Is there a way to save the city from burning out? At the top you ain't got nowhere left to climb. You did what you could and I guess it's good. It's a fire sore now. Dig it up from time to time.
Luke Freeze and the Shadowband recorded live on sessions from Studio A. That song was called Memories on Gardner, and it's from the band's latest album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, which they put out last year. And I am joined here with Luke Freeze and the Shadowband. I want to talk about that album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream. I love the title. Tell us a little bit about the title.
Yeah, it's taken from a lyric in a song called Leah, which is about my sweetheart. And that song and that lyric specifically is sort of about manifesting your tomorrow now. And so a lucid dream just being a dream that you can kind of control and shape. And so tomorrow is a lucid dream, and you can kind of create it.
I've always wanted to be able to lucid dream.
Me too.
Never have been able to break through.
No, yeah, that'd be cool.
So tell us a little bit about the album. Tell us about the making, the writing, and the recording of it.
Well, so a lot of the songs were written in 2022, 2023. I was kind of like, after Point of View, the freewheeling, Luke Freeze freewheeling album, I was sort of getting a little bummed out that I would be putting out albums and there would just be songs that would just totally get swept under the rug because people's attention spans weren't really. So what I started doing was releasing singles, and one single at a time. So I put out a bunch of singles, and then so I was writing, and I had this like a bunch of material that could be an album, and then started putting them out as singles. And the template was sort of like I would do a demo to a click track, send it to Gary, and Gary would quantize me and turn me down and have the click track and play in time, and then I would do it better over Gary, and then Zane would record bass, or Garrett would overdub, and then I would do a lot of other overdubs myself too, piano and different guitars and stuff, and then that's sort of how we recorded that one, and that's how we're recording this. We're working on another album right now. We've got like 12, 15 songs written for it, and getting ready to kind of put them out one at a time again, because that was sort of what we did with Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, where it was like 12 songs on that album, and I think 8 of them came out as singles.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, it just made sense to do that. You could kind of like really, put the pedal to the metal on each song individually and let it have its moment.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of like the new model seems to be more singles and then before the full album. It makes sense kind of in today's streaming world, and
right? Like
you said, the
and
attention
it's like,
spans.
I'm like, and it bums me out because I am an albums guy. Like I don't understand how people can just like put things on playlists or listen to things out of order, or like just I don't never been able to relate to that kind of like music consumption, and but I think that like if you can find a way to do both, if you can have singles or have songs that stand on their own but also tie it together in a unified cohesive record, then you can maybe have a compromise that doesn't offend too many people.
Yeah, and like you said, letting each song kind of shine is nice.
Right.
Being able to kind of put that spotlight on each song. And that was self-recorded too, then? Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds really great.
Thank you.
Sounds really good. Thinking about mixing your own music is interesting, and you saying like you almost have to dissociate a little bit. Is that something that's hard for you? Is mixing your own songs? Because I could see that being, some people getting real hypercritical, and then you get stuck in that mixing process because it's your own music. You're so attached to it.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that works for you. How you make that work.
It definitely. I mean, it depends on the song. If it's a really personal song, but I think also my method of like recording and all of my favorite artists are artists who place like an emotional delivery way above technical perfection. And I think that like most of my favorite music is some seriously flawed recordings. And so I think that having that mentality in general keeps me from getting hypercritical because I'm not really looking for perfection anyway. I'm looking for a sincere, and so if I can, and sometimes like when you strip silencing drums, there's no that's got to be sort of precise, but then there's also when you're overall trying to just sort of capture the recording and just remembering to serve the song, and that's all that you have to do. Then I don't know. It doesn't weird me out as much as maybe it used to. Yeah.
You're hearing my interview with Luke Fries and the Shadowband on Sessions from Studio A, and we've been hearing the band recorded live right here in WNIJ's Studio A. You can check out behind-the-scenes video from their performance on WNIJ.org and find music from Luke Fries and the Shadowband on all streaming services. And you can also find more on his website, lukefries.net, Fries spelled Frees. Stay tuned, we have more great live recordings coming up. Luke Fries and the Shadowband this hour on Sessions from Studio A. This is Sessions from Studio A with Luke Fries and the Shadowband. Let's get right back into the band's live recording with us here in WNIJ's Studio A with an absolutely epic song here. This is the lead track off of their latest album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream, and you can check out behind-the-scenes video from this song over on WNIJ.org along with this full episode and on the WNIJ YouTube channel. This is Gravity's Shadow, recorded live by Luke Fries and the Shadowband.
You can't move forward if you're looking behind, or the past will catch up with you. The slower you go, the lower you fly, and you'll never get nowhere new. So what do you do? What do you do? You're up off the ground, afraid to come down. To gravity's shadow. Gravity's shadow. Caught a dozen roses that you held a fist, and the crowd called out your name. But when the stage door closes and you stand in the midst of the silence to your fate, when they all go away, what really remains? Up there with nothing new to say. Feel the gravity's shadow. Gravity's shadow. But what's wrong with taking the time to free yourself, to clear your mind? The more you look, the less you find. Started again. Started again. Stepping up way down, now you're coming around. Gravity's shadow. Gravity's shadow. But what's wrong with taking the time to free yourself, to clear your mind? The more you look, the less you find. Can't move forward if you're looking behind. The past will catch up with you. The slower you go, the lower you fly, and you'll never get nowhere new. So what do you do? What do you do? You're up off the ground, afraid to come down. To gravity's shadow. granite sky spilled into the sea. The water is high, waves lick our feet. Kissed at the red lights on the way to the beach. The wind from the heavens sacrificed the heat. It's getting late. It's getting late. It's getting late. Is it too late? Pull me in closer. Nothing more to say. Blankets rolled over. Remains of the day. The sun is forgotten, drowned out by the tide, lost in the canyon. For someone else to find. It's getting late. It's getting late. Is it too late? Waves never stop. Waves never stop.
Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, performing The Waves live in WNIJ's Studio A. And I'm joined with the band here. We've been talking with them this hour about their music and about their last album, Tomorrow's Lucid Dream. And you guys teased us a little bit that there's already a new record in the works. So what can you tell us about this? Are there plans for any more releases later on this year?
Yeah, oh, for sure. We did one today, Superstar, and honestly, I think by the time this is out, that song will probably be out. And then I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 more after Superstar this year, and then a few more at the beginning of next year, and then the full album in 2026. And it's got, I think, probably 12 songs, and 3 songs that are recorded twice. I went out to LA to record sort of like nighttime versions or sort of acoustic versions of certain songs. And so there's a version of Superstar that's coming out as its sort of B-side counterpart that's the same song but a totally different arrangement.
Oh, cool.
Totally different speed, tempo, even some of the lyrics. And yeah.
Tell people where is the best place they can find more from you and find your music.
Yeah, we're on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming services. It's just under my name, Luke Freeze, because Spotify wouldn't let us change it to Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, but that's okay. And then Luke Freeze Froze on Instagram. That's a pun, but it's spelled Frees, like the plural of free. Yeah.
Excellent. And the Instagram, people can check that out for dates if you have any shows coming up this summer or anything.
LukeFreeze.net, that'll have all the dates as well.
LukeFreeze.net, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Luke Freeze and the Shadowband, thanks so much, everyone, for coming out to Studio A and playing for us today. Great show.
Thanks, Spencer. Thank you.
Arsic distractions, heated reactions. I don't think I started the fight. We're not hiding tears, visions unclear of who's in the wrong and the right. Day after day, they get further away, the memories of all of our nights. Inside jokes forgotten, and in trying to hold on, I think about you most of the time. Most of the time. Go days without talking, spend time out walking the streets and replaying our past. Slipping on shoes from the days when I used to believe that our love could last. The pictures are vivid, but I wish I'd committed all those details that now I can't find. 'Cause once they get lost, souvenirs tossed, they're hard to dig out. Most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time, I'm trying my best not to let you go. For some, hindsight's 20/20 vision, but now when you're wearing rose-tinted glasses, even the ashes look like snow. Projecting old movies, late night smoothies, I've all but forgotten the taste. If we can't remember it, then nobody will, and it'll just get thrown in the waste. And one by one, they'll all just become blurry portraits in the back of our minds. That's why I can't stop. I have to stay on time, so I relive them with concentration most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time.
Luke Freeze and the Shadowband closing out this week's edition of Sessions from Studio A with that song Most of the Time. Thanks so much to the band for joining us and to you for listening in this hour. You can find more on lukefreeze.net and lukefreezefroze on Instagram. Also find his music on all streaming services and check out video on WNIJ.org. Sessions from Studio A is produced at WNIJ Studios by myself, along with Mike Lundgren and Sam Knopfsker. I'm Spencer Tritz, and thanks so much for joining me this week. I'll see you next time on another edition of Sessions from Studio A.
It's hard to tell.